Hi, I'm J.D. Foster, and I'm here to tell you why our $8 trillion debt, our national debt, matters to you. The simple, easy reason is that we have to pay interest on all this debt, just as you do on credit cards and home mortgages. This year we spent $173 billion on the interest on our national debt, and that number is going to rise to almost $400 billion in just the next 3 years. These are enormous sums that when we're using these sums to pay interest on the debt, we don't have those resources available for other purposes, whether it be spending on the national defense or for tax relief. Another reason why the national debt matters is because it's growing so rapidly. Our national debt's now $8 trillion or so. It's going to be rising to $12 trillion and then $17 trillion or higher by the end of the decade. This raises what we call our debt ratio, the ratio of debt to the size of our economy, very rapidly, from about 40%, now at about 65%. By the end of the decade, it will be towards 75%. This is an enormous accumulation of national debt, enormous drain on our resources, but it's also an enormous threat to our economic prosperity. The credit markets, the people we're having to borrow this money from, are looking at our government and other governments around the world and wondering if we've completely lost our minds, frankly. Are we so irresponsible that we're going to intend to borrow and borrow and borrow some more, well beyond our capacity to pay the money back? When the credit markets decide that we have lost our fiscal anchor and have become so irresponsible, they're going to start denying us credit. And it's going to start by much higher interest rates that will work all the way through our economy. And then eventually the markets will simply deny the federal government the ability to borrow. We're already seeing this phenomena in other countries. Greece, Mexico, Ireland, Spain are all being subject to this kind of pressure from credit markets. And they're just getting it first because they're in worse condition than we are. But they are now where we're going. And if we don't get our fiscal house in order and stop accumulating all this debt through deficit spending, we're looking at a severe credit crisis somewhere down the road, and it may not be that far off. Learn more about our national debt and download our fact sheet on the national debt at heritage.org/entitlements.